The desert doesn't care about you. I learned that on the road to Al-Ula. A lesson written in heat and darkness that I can't forget. My name is Bilal, and I was the last of our trio to see the thing for what it was. It started with the sun, a furious orange ball that baked the long black highway into soft, melting tar. I rode at the back of our line, watching Faisal and Rami ahead of me, their bikes kicking up little clouds of dust from the shoulder. The growl of our engines was the only protest against the immense silence of the dunes, which rose on either side like golden waves frozen in midair. My fuel was low, the warning light a persistent yellow eye on my console, and the GPS showed a single line cutting through a blank, yellow field. We were trying to reach the border town of Al-Ula before nightfall. We were already behind. When the sun vanished, the cold hit like a physical blow. We switched on our high beams, carving a narrow tunnel of light through a world turned black and alien. The stars were brutally bright, but the constellations were twisted into shapes I'd never seen. That's when the technology betrayed us. My screen is glitching, Rami's voice crackled in my helmet. Tight with attention I felt in my own gut. I looked down. My own GPS was no longer showing a direction. The line of our route was gone, replaced by a single pulsing circle. A loop. Mine too, I said, my voice uneasy. Forget it, Faisal said, a forced calm in his tone. We just stay on the road. It has to lead somewhere. So we rode on, the wind beginning to howl around us, a lonely, hungry sound that pushed against our jackets. And then we saw it, a small, white shape in the middle of the black asphalt. A baby goat, standing on trembling, stick-thin legs, its coat a pure, impossible white. It let out a soft, pitiful bleat that cut right through the noise of the bikes and the wind. "What is that doing out here?" Rami asked, his head swiveling, scanning the empty horizon. There was nothing. No herds, no lights, no sign of life. "It's going to die out here," Faisal said, his voice soft with a pity that would be our undoing. I could see the decision in the slump of his shoulders. "Faisal, no," I said, the words leaving my mouth in a rush. "This is wrong. There is nothing for miles." "It's just a goat, Bilal," he said, and he was already kicking his stand down. He walked toward it, and the animal didn't run. It nuzzled his hand as he bent down. "See? It's friendly. It's scared." He picked it up, cradled it against his chest inside his jacket, and zipped it up. The bleeding stopped instantly. The goat became a still, quiet lump against him. "We'll find its owner in the next town," Faisal said, getting back on his bike. Rami and I exchanged a single, horrified look. It was a bad idea. We both knew it. But Faisal was already moving, and we had no choice but to follow. We rode for what felt like an hour. The wind's wail grew sharper, morphing into a high, thin cry that didn't sound like wind at all. The goat in Faisal's jacket was perfectly, unnaturally still. It hadn't made a sound. It hadn't shifted. I pulled up alongside him, the road straight and dark ahead. I glanced over, and my blood ran cold. "Faisal," I said over the intercom, "stop the bike." "What is it?" "Just stop." We pulled over to the shoulder, our 3 bikes idling in a fragile bubble of sound. "What's wrong?" Faisal asked, impatience edging his voice. I pointed at his jacket. The goat's head was tucked inside, but its back legs dangled out. When he'd picked it up, its hooves were near his waist. Now they hung down, long and disturbingly still, almost brushing the footpeg of his bike. "It's bigger," I whispered, the words feeling both stupid and terrifying. "Don't be stupid," Faisal snapped, but I heard the crack in his confidence. He shifted his grip, one arm cradling the bundle, and grunted, a sharp, surprised sound. "It's heavy," he said, his voice now laced with alarm. "It feels twice as heavy." A deep, solid fear settled in my stomach. This was a wrongness, a tear in the fabric of the world. "Put it down," Rami said. His voice was low, flat, and left no room for argument. "Now, Faisal." Faisal, his hands shaking, carefully maneuvered the goat out of his jacket. He held it for a moment, and I saw the strain in his arms. Slowly, He set it down on the asphalt in the intersecting glow of our headlights. It stood on its four legs. For a second, it seemed normal. Then it shifted. His back legs straightened with a faint, dry pop. His posture changed. It wasn't standing like a goat anymore. It was standing like a hunched-over person. Its head turned towards us, and its eyes flashed with a sickly, internal yellow light. Rami gasped and pointed a trembling finger at the ground. The shadow. Look at the shadow. Our headlights shone directly on it, but its long, distorted silhouette stretched toward us, lying on the asphalt between our bikes. Jinn, Rami whispered, a word from our grandfather's stories. No, Faisal said, a nervous laugh escaping him. He took a step forward, hand outstretched, needing to prove it was still just an animal. His fingers brushed the white fur. He screamed, snatching his hand back and clutching it to his chest. It's hot, like fire. That was all the proof we needed. Panic is a lightning strike. Go, 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 Rami shouted. We scrambled onto our bikes, twisted the throttles, and sped away. I risked a look in my side mirror. My heart seized. It was following us, not on four legs but on two. Its body was upright, its head bent forward, loping with an unnatural sprinting gait. It was keeping pace. A mile later I looked again. It was closer and taller. Its spine had elongated, its limbs stretched. It was now a twisted hybrid, part goat, part man. The sound of its hooves was a rhythmic, metallic tap, tap, tap. Then Faisal's bike sputtered and died. Then mine. Then Rami's. The roar of our engines was gone. In the sudden, absolute silence, the metallic tapping was terrifyingly clear. It was close. My hand trembling, I switched on my helmet headlamp. I swept the beam behind us. Nothing. The tapping stopped. Relief washed over me for a single stupid second. I turned to the others, and the beam swept to the side of the road. It was there, walking beside us. His feet, now long black hooves, barely touched the sand. His body was level with our shoulders. Its head was massive, with curled, obsidian horns and eyes that were solid, burning yellow orbs. It turned and looked directly into my light. It hadn't been following. It had been guiding us, hurting us. The truth was a poison in my soul. This was a trap. We had carried it. By touching it, we had invited it in. Run! Rami screamed. We abandoned the bikes and ran into the desert, our boots sinking into the deep, clutching sand. I looked back. It was gone. Ahead, a dark shape, a half-collapsed rest station. We stumbled inside, collapsing onto the gritty floor, gasping. For a minute, only the sound of our ragged breaths. Then, a shadow fell across the doorway. We looked up. It stood there, ducking under the frame, filling the exit. A monster of smoke and solid matter. It smelled of hot sand and ozone. It opened its mouth. A layered, echoing chorus spoke. Faisal Rami Bilal. The sound vibrated in my bones. You carried me home. Outside, the sand dunes shifted, flowing like water, surrounding the building. Took a step inside. Rami yelled, grabbed a chunk of concrete, and threw it. The rock passed straight through its chest like smoke. Desperation clawed at me. I remembered the old prayers, the ones my grandfather whispered. I began to recite them, a shaky whisper. Rami heard me. He joined in, his voice stronger. Faisal, clutching his burned hand, looked up and began to pray too. The creature paused. His head tilted. The yellow eyes narrowed. We spoke louder, shouting the old words of protection. The creature let out a scream, the sound of metal tearing and a sandstorm grinding rock to dust. It took a shuddering step back. Its form began to waver, to blur at the edges. We kept shouting, our voices raw. It dissolved. It didn't fall. It came apart like dust in the wind, streaming out the door and vanishing. The scream faded into the returning howl of the wind. We sat in the dark, trembling, unable to speak. Dawn came. We walked out. Our bikes were there, looking new. But my blood went cold when I saw the tracks. Our tire tracks formed a perfect, large circle in the sand around the rest station. We had been riding in a loop all night. I turned on my GPS. The screen flashed a single word in bold, red letters: return. I looked up. 100 meters down the road, the small white goat stood, exactly as we first saw it. It bleated softly, pitiful, lonely sound. We didn't speak. We got on our bikes and drove straight past it. I kept my eyes locked on the road ahead. We never spoke of it again. But the desert doesn't forget. A year later, Rami's motorbike was found parked neatly on the side of the empty road. The engine was still warm. Rami was gone. Sometimes, I wake up and think I hear a soft, metallic tapping outside my window, and I remember, it is lonely, and it's still out there, wearing the skin of what we pity, waiting for the next person to stop.